Welcome to Insights into a Soul, the podcast that no one asked for. This is a podcast about life, love, and everything in between. So grab a cup of coffee and relax, and join me as we gain insights into a soul. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Insights into a Soul. I am your host, Torin. Your host every time, actually. I bring guests on, but it's always me. Guys, gals, folks, everyone, thank you so much for your support, tuning into this podcast and sharing the podcast. If this podcast has helped you in any way, drop me a message. Let me know. And make sure you like and subscribe and share it with someone else. You know, maybe it can help them as well. This whole thing started as just a personal project for myself, but the more I do it, the more excited I get about the potential I have to help people and to speak about my life and things that I've experienced, and then hopefully it'll help other people. That's why we do this. That's why I do this. So today I want to talk about something that's a challenge for me. It's this podcast I started, as personal therapy. We've talked about that before. And sometimes it's difficult for me to keep things going. It's hard for me to focus in on it, especially when, especially if it's something that no one's that I know of is consciously depending on me for. If, it doesn't have a deadline, it's different from like my 9-to-5 job. I've got tasks, I've got deadlines. And with something like the podcast, it's easy to slack off or to not lose interest. I think it's more of lose focus and get down about things. I've gone through a season recently in the past couple weeks where I've gone through some really deep lows. Depression, sadness, despair, even. Like, I've just felt like, why bother? Why keep going with things? And I have to push myself to keep going. I have to push myself to move forward. So I have to get back on this insights thing and make sure that I stick with it. I got to come up with some sort of schedule, cadence where I'm getting episodes out and thinking of new things, and I got to find inspiration. I got to look for inspiration too. So I think, like I said last episode, I've got a few topics already lined up. And I think I'm going to look for inspiration elsewhere as well, books and stuff. I'm starting to read more. And if you have any topics or anything that you'd like me to talk about, shoot me a message and let me know. But I think the big thing that I've realized is, the way we think about ourselves, the way that we think about things that we do, like the podcast, like whatever it is, our hobbies, our things that we enjoy, it's easy to get discouraged. My friend Jeff, he started streaming lately. Check him out, Jeff Ichka, on Facebook and Instagram and all that. He streams video games. And, him starting out too, like, there's a lot of roadblocks when you start something, especially, like I said, if it's not a 9-to-5. And so you get discouraged. And, while he's not giving up, he's really made the resolve to stick with it and push forward. It's not always easy to do that. And, like, I've been doing this podcast now for almost a year. And it's not easy to keep going sometimes. It's not easy to push on and move forward. And I think what I do is I start to speak negatively of myself. I start to say, like, no one listens to this podcast. It doesn't really matter if you do it, man. Like, why bother? Why keep going? Why put the effort in? And I used to let those thoughts really take over and take control. And I do that with a lot of things. It's like relationships or just different tasks. It's like, nobody cares. Nobody, like, why bother? Just give up. Don't bother with it. And I find myself talking negatively myself. So especially when I get in these times of despair and darkness, which, again, fewer and farther between these days. Like, I haven't had these episodes like I used to have. My head's clearer. I feel better. But I'm also doing better about self-care. Still need to work on getting to bed at a better time. I'm terrible about that. But I also need to take a vacation. I think that's another topic that we're going to talk about is rest. But today, I just want to talk about being kind to yourself. I think this is something that I know I especially am terrible at. It's very easy for me to focus on the negative. If I do something wrong or say something wrong, like even in a friendship or a relationship or anything like that, it's like you say something. And especially in a romantic relationship, if you're pursuing someone romantically, which I'm not really doing right now, but who knows, might start again. But you always worry that you said the wrong thing or you did the wrong thing. And and you're like, man, I shouldn't have done that. I should have said that. You start beating yourself up like, man, so stupid. Like, you're so dumb. Like, why do you do this? Like, nobody wants you. And like, for me, I've started working out again, and I've been, it's helped me feel better. I've been losing weight, and it's not even about the weight. It's just about feeling better and being healthy. But I get down on myself because, especially now as I venture into the world of, venturing into the world of dating again, I instantly start to say to myself, no one likes you like that, man. Like, no one's going to like you like that. No one's going to like you as more than a friend. Like, I feel like I'm destined sometimes to be in the friend zone. I'm just destined to be the friend. And I tell myself that, no one, what, you're not tall. You're too short. Girls aren't going to like you. Girls, unfortunately, society, I think, has built this into my head too, is that women want a guy who's like 5'8" to 5'10" or taller, and, muscles and a six-pack and, work out and like, beards and woodsy guys that smell like, I don't know, sandalwood and hike. So I just feel like, hey, I'm a short, not six-pack Spanish guy, and I feel like no one's going to ever really want me. And I'm not looking for pity. I'm not, not looking for that. But I really just feel sometimes that, like, I'm not the desirable type. Like, I'm not what social media or these dating apps portray. And so I feel like it's going to be a struggle. So that is really discouraging. But then I say to myself, like, I start working out, and I say to myself, I'm like, man, why do I even bother? What does it matter? I feel like I'm just not physically attractive, and, personality, I feel like, is not enough to win the day. Personality doesn't make up for a height difference. And so it's a challenge for me. And I find myself talking down to myself and talking negatively about myself. And I've had to stop myself. Like, even lately, like, I start to have these negative thoughts, these self-defeating, bashing myself. I'm trying really hard to make the conscious decision to change my thoughts, to change the way I approach it, to stop myself in the moment and not be sad, to not focus on the negative, but to be happy, to be kind to myself, to speak to myself. You know what? I'm smart. I'm working on myself to be a better person, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and not for anybody else, but for me, because I want to be a better person. So I've really, really tried to, like, not dwell in it and stop myself as I start to get into these episodes. And I had to say to myself, I'm like, you know what? Would you talk to your friend this way? Would I talk to my close friend this way? The way that I talk to myself? Would I say those things to them? No. Then why should I say them to myself? Would you talk to your partner the way you talk to yourself? And I think we do that. It's so easy for us to beat ourselves up and put ourselves down. But if you wouldn't do it to somebody else, why do you do it to yourself? Because I think that's the thing that we don't think about, is that we need to love ourselves before we can love other people. We need to be okay with ourselves before we can help others. How can you stand there and tell someone that they're a great person and that you believe in them and that they can do it if you don't believe those words yourself? Now, it helps to have people that share that sentiment, that can encourage you, which we need that. We need a support system to support us, not to blow smoke at, up our butts or anything, but to be honest with us and to, encourage us and the genuine encouragement. And I have some friends that do that, and I need to lean on them more. I actually wall myself off from people when I get in those times. And I think when I need them the most, and I put up these walls and I don't let them in, so that's something I need to work on as well, is leaning on them and spending more time with them, which is difficult during these crazy times of COVID. But I think it's a good place to work towards. It's a thing to be conscious of. So would you talk to your friend or your partner the way you talk to yourself? No, you wouldn't. And if you would, then you're probably a terrible person and you need more work in other ways. But we spend so much time and effort building up others and encouraging them, but we neglect ourselves. We don't take as much time, if not more time and effort, to build up ourselves and to work on ourselves. Because like I said, we've got to be in a good place before we can help others. One of my mentors early on talked about the 3 relationships, right? 3 key relationships you should have in your life. Whether it's leadership, whether it's whatever, you should always have someone that's older than you, or more experienced than you. It's not an age thing, but it's an experience thing. So someone that's wiser than you, that's older than you in mind, in experience, that can pour into you. Because you need to be learning. You need to be getting something from someone and learning. Then you need to have a peer-to-peer relationship. Someone that's on the same level as you. Maybe they're similar in skill level, similar in life experience, that you can bounce things off of. You know, a best friend, someone that you can trust with anything, that can help you and balance you and speak to you about things and really just like help figure things out. Then you also need a person that's younger than you or less experienced than you that you can pour into. Because you need to be pouring that knowledge that you're learning into someone else and training up the next generation, bringing up people to follow you and to take on what you do further than you can take it. And what I love is that this part, my goal in everything I do should be, and most of the time it is, but it needs to be, to help them become better than I am. I want to see my apprentice, the person under me, exceed what I've done. I want to see them go past me, because if that's the thing, I know that I've passed on my knowledge, and if they're growing beyond what I'm capable of even, and they're achieving better things than I am, then I've done a good job of helping equip them and not limiting them in their experience, not limiting in their impact. Because we should always be wanting to propel others past where we are. Because then we can learn from them, but also they can achieve new things. They can find people, and they can take somebody else to the next level, and then somebody else to the next level. And it just keeps going, exponentially growing and just becoming better. So yeah, the three relationships, older to younger, peer to peer, and then you to younger. So I think that's key, and it can be applied to so many different things. So that whole thing is just like, it's constantly a flow, a flow of knowledge, of skill, of whatever. Just keep the waters fresh, keep learning, keep growing. And I think if we do that, we will learn better ways to be kind to ourselves. And I think surrounding ourselves with people that are strong and positive, that are better than us even, will help us see ourselves in different ways, in better ways. They can say, hey, you know what? You're doing great in this, and you're growing in here. So it doesn't always have to be that, hey, you should do this better, but it's that growing, that encouragement. Hey, man, keep going. Like, have your teammate with you in a race or something. They're pushing you to do better and better and better. So, yeah, that's my message this week. Like, let's work on that. Let's work on being kind to ourselves. Maybe it's something small. You're smarter than you think you are. You're better than you think you are. You might not think you're a good writer. You know what? Maybe you really are a good writer. Maybe you're good at photography. Maybe you're good at drawing. Maybe you think that you're not a great parent. But the reality of it is, you are. You love your kids. Your kids are safe. They're taken care of. You're doing the best that you can do. Can we do better? We can always do better, no matter what we're doing. Nobody arrives. Nobody achieves anything fully. You talk to, you look at Olympic medalists, you look at high competitive athletes, they're always looking at how they can be better, how they can go beyond. Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl. He wants to win another one. He's not done. He wants to see how he can be better, how he can be more efficient, how he can do it better next time. And I think that's how we should be. Every time we do something, if we think we've mastered something, well, what's the next level? What's the next thing? Push yourselves beyond now. Take pride and enjoy your accomplishments. Enjoy what you've done. Enjoy where you are and enjoy the moment and celebrate it. But continue to push yourself. Continue to encourage yourself. And the big thing is, we can't do that unless we're being kind to ourselves. So you're doing the best you can. Don't give up. Don't give up before you start. Don't give up in the middle of it. And don't give up when you've finished or you think you've finished. We can always do more. We can always go beyond. We can always go plus ultra, as All Might says. And I've talked about that before, but that's the thing, guys. Let's push ourselves. When we think we can't take anymore, when we think we can't do anymore, that's when we really need to dig in deep. And we need to push ourselves beyond what we think we're capable of. So, my encouragement to you this week, my challenge, my encouragement. Start journaling. It doesn't have to be daily, but regularly, weekly, bi-weekly, daily, whatever. Do it frequently. But start writing positives down. Instead of focusing on the negatives, write down, hey, something positive about yourself. What's positive? Ask your friends, ask your family, what's something positive about me? What's something good that you see in me? If you can't think of anything, let someone else tell you. That's what they're there for. That's what friends are for. I'm not going to start singing, but that's what friends are for. lean on them. But daily or frequently, regularly, figure out a cadence that works for you. But just write down something positive about you, something positive maybe about your life, something good that you did. Hey, I held the door for an old lady. It's something. Be positive, though. Think positively of yourself. Hey, today I pushed myself to go to the gym. That's an improvement. Today I was having a down day, but you know what? I'm smart. I'm good. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to give in to these thoughts. I'm going to push myself to keep going, because one bad day doesn't define us. One bad moment doesn't define us. So keep going. Keep pushing. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others, obviously, but be kind to yourself. Love yourself, because you know what? You're a valuable person. You matter. You matter to someone. You matter to friends, to family, to coworkers. You matter. You're important. You have a purpose in this world, and your life has meaning. You might need to find it. You might need to dig back in and realign with it, but it's there. Everyone has purpose. Everyone has meaning. So don't give up. Don't give in. Don't quit. No matter what it is, keep pushing forward. That's what I'm doing. Day by day, pushing forward and doing the best that I can. And in those times when I don't feel good enough or I feel like I'm lacking, I ask someone. I say, hey, what can I do better? What do you see? What do you see that I could improve in? Or how can I do this differently? And then my friends, my coworkers, my family will tell me. And it helps me to refocus and to push on and to evolve, to grow, to learn. So yeah, don't give up. Don't give in. Be kind to yourself. We're not perfect. None of us are. And that's okay. That's what makes us all beautiful. I think of that Linkin Park song, One More Light, that talks about, if one more light in the sky of a million stars goes out, who cares? I do. I care. And I think that's the thing. Is you matter. Everybody matters. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for having a quick conversation with me. This has been Insights into a Soul. I have been your host, Torin. So glad to be back talking with you, having coffee, having a drink, having some good conversation. Looking forward to seeing you again next week. I've got some other topics. I think next week we might tackle, social media and why I'm giving up on relationships, relationship Instagram, social accounts, or maybe toxicity and the lack of resolution in relationships. And maybe just you need to give up that relationship or that friendship that's very one-sided, because we have them. And sometimes you need to cut ties, man. You can only give so much of yourself before it becomes toxic to you. So there's some sneak peeks of some topics that I'm working on. Got other things in the works as well. Got some guests I'm going to be bringing on. Like I said in the beginning, if this podcast has helped you in any way, make sure you like and subscribe. We're on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Just search Insights into a Soul. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Insights into a Soul. Instagram's Insights into a Soul _official. And let's see what else we got. We got email, insightsintoasoul@gmail.com. So again, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for sharing the podcast. Until next time, see ya. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Insights into a Soul. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to like and subscribe and to share it with your friends. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Insights into a Soul, on Instagram @TorinH, and if you have suggestions for future episodes or topics, or if you'd like to be on the podcast, contact us, insightsintoasoul@gmail.com.